Hello?
You're listening to WGHC 98.3 FM.
Why yo, but we are nothing's friend from see the first time. Touch us in sense. Why yo, get anything you like. Long as you alright, then me alright. Me know you man, that's why I'm alive.
Your voice, your music.
Whether me in a skirt or jeans or short shorts, head race when me walk past. Me feel the eyes, believe the eye. Me love the light, me tweet the spike.
I am Mazi KK Odeluga.
Mazi Ejikeme Obasi.
Na Mazi Oke Okachukwu.
This is Straight Talk Radio, the world as we see.
Coming to you from WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station.
Listen to us this and every Saturday at 4 to 5 p.m. U.S. Central, and this and every Tuesday at 9 to 10 p.m. U.S. Central.
Ndewono.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Straight Talk Radio. This is Mazi Ejikeme Obasi calling out to you. My co-hosts, Mazi Oke Okachukwu and Mazi KK Odeluga, will be joining us soon. So today, being the 3rd of July, we thought we would start by talking a little bit about the American independence. This is, after all, America Week or International Week for us here at Straight Talk Radio. So for many of us that live in the United States, tomorrow, 4th of July, we will be having yet another independence celebration. And I thought we would dedicate the first part of this program to talk about the American independence, what it meant at the time we got independence, and if we are still living true to the principles of the American independence. As most of us know, on July 4th, 1776, the 13 colonies, the 13 original colonies in the United States affirmed their independence or claimed their independence from England in an event which led eventually to the formation of the United States. If you look at the articles that was quoted at the time of independence, it was basically the colonialists or the inhabitants of the original 13 colonies affirming their right to live free of the tyranny of Great Britain and the King of Britain over their lives. So, as students of history, we know that this was resisted mightily by the Crown, or the British Crown, and this led to the Civil War, or sorry, not the Civil War, led to the War of Independence, following which America became a sovereign nation. So, every July 4th, we celebrate this historic event that happened in 1776. The question then becomes, since that declaration and since America became a sovereign country, have we lived the principles? Have we continued to maintain the principles under which the war for independence was fought? And I am hoping that some of the listeners will chime in so we can have a nice discussion today. As most of you know, you can follow us on Facebook at WGHC 98.3 FM, and you can watch the live stream there. And you can also comment on Facebook. Those that have an iPhone that have not already downloaded the WGHC 98.3 FM app, you can do so right now in the App Store. It is free. You can also, for those on Android and non-Apple phones, you can go to the TuneIn radio app or visit tunein.com. Again, download and you can participate. Finally, you can visit our website at www.wghcfm.org, or you can call the studio directly at 773-942-7167. I believe my co-host, Mazi Odeluga, is with us now. Mazi Odeluga, Kelendi Madu.
Welcome to another episode of Straight Talk Radio on the eve of the celebration of July 4th, which is the American Day of Independence. Day one.
So while we wait for Mazi Okachukwu to call in, I would like to start by asking Mazi Odeluga, so we are celebrating American independence. Why did America seek independence from Great Britain?
It is for myriad of reasons, quite a good number of reasons, among which is what finally became the rallying cry for the colonialists at the time, and in the 13th colony of the then United, not American, British colony, was the fact that they felt that England, the British government, was imposing all kinds of taxations on them and requiring them, exerting some laws and hindering their liberty and freedom, and yet they have no way of being represented within the British government. So you hear the question, taxation without representation was what was rejected. But at the heart of it, though, is a group of men that have come to the place where they felt that their freedom and liberty and their way of life is being impacted by a government that they have no control over, or they have no way of helping shape their destiny. And so came the Declaration of Independence. And you will hear and feel some of their sentiments in the words of the Declaration of Independence that was signed on July 4th, 1776.
Yes, so I would like to actually quote parts of the original declaration, because I think sometimes we tend to forget what was written in the original text, because if you go to the second paragraph, well, at the beginning it says, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. And it goes on to say, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with a certain unalienable right, that among these are the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, so if we stop here, because it now goes on to talk about what the government's role in maintaining these rights should be. But if we stop here for a minute, I want to ask, today in 2018, are all American citizens afforded that same right, that they all be treated equally, and that they be given that same unalienable right for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, Mazio Deluga, are we still living true to the tenets of the Declaration of Independence?
That's why we always talk about perfecting the union. Because America, even at this time, that these men, which, I respect them for what their convictions and what they did for their people, and indeed what they did for mankind. But as at that time, many of the signers of this declaration were actually holding Africans in servitude under one of the most egregious and difficult and inhumane systems of slavery, chattel slavery, that mankind has ever known. Yet, they were able to articulate these truths. Now, I know that they felt that England that London was infringing on some of their own rights as individuals. But as at that time, they had no respect as a body for the rights of the Africans to the same liberty. And that they talked about, and happiness, pursuit of happiness, liberty to life. So America is still a country that is yet to live out and fulfill the true creed upon which she was founded. And that's why every day we continue to strive for protection. And you see, Mazo, obviously, that is why, if you look at these truths, in the background or context of those who accuse a lot of the NBA players who majority of whom happen to be of African descent, of lack of patriotism by kneeling during the national anthem instead of standing. You will then really praise those players for standing up for the truth upon which America was built. Asking America to guarantee the freedom and the liberty for the African males especially to life under the tactics of some of the police departments all across this land. So you will call those men who chose to kneel during the anthem to bring attention to the issue of police brutality, which were infringing on the rights of some of the American citizens as patriots, because that's what makes America unique, that each time we stand up for injustice, we are actually helping to perfect the union.
Yeah, so because I think that's why it is important at times to shine the light on some of the discrepancies in our society. The primary reason America or the original inhabitants of the 13 colonies asked for and demanded independence from Great Britain was based on the concept of unfair treatment. And they asserted very firmly the right of all mankind. They did not say all people living in New England or Philadelphia, or all mankind, the right to freedom and pursuit of happiness. So, the question has to be asked, was that original declaration made for the original white inhabitants of New England, or of the colonies, or was this a universal declaration that would form the guiding principle of the new country, America? as you rightly pointed out, at the same time this document was being prepared and created, most of the original authors held slaves. Did they consider their slaves to have the same rights to freedom and the pursuit of happiness? And if you fast forward till today, it seems to me that every time an issue becomes a question of minority populations in America, their rights are seemed to be taken as less important as the rights of perhaps white America. And maybe it is time we have a serious conversation around the concept of who owns this land. Who is an American? Are there people who are more American than other Americans? And if we all believe firmly in the founding principles of this country, should we not all rise as a body to defend the principles on which our democracy was founded? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. But you see, this again speaks to what many call the Judeo-Christian foundation upon which America was built. That actually the concept and the idea of recognizing that yes, mankind were all created, and there's a creator and there is a creature, and they are all created by God, and they all share, and the same creator endow them with those rights. I think that was what was radical at the time, that the power and the rights that men had was endowed by their creator. It wasn't a power given by a king. It wasn't a power given because remember, these were Europeans who came out of the Dark Ages when they saw the power of the papacy destroying civilizations within Europe and actually held Europe under bondage. In fact, at the point where then came the civil laws, of course, of which was represented by the monarchies of England and of the monarchies of Europe, where all land belonged to the king. And everybody swore allegiance to the king. And you owned no property unless you were of any house of the Lord or you were part of the elite of the upper class. And so there were a lot of peasants who were living off of the land because they couldn't really own land. So they saw injustices in Europe, and it was because many of them came to the new land. And so here were a group of people who realized that if the truth be told, they don't want to build a kingdom. They wanted to forge a nation that will be like an ideal land with clear values and the creed upon which we will build about this equality of rights. So it is not a question of I'm more American than you, because then that means you're more human than me. Because again, this is a trait, this is a shared right, a shared endowment and power that was given to all mankind. This does not differ, I will tell you, from the worldview of people of Igbo descent, because going back to our own perspective as Igbo believe now Ohaka, power belongs to the people. Mother,
yes.
Mother Abrochiku, everybody is human and everybody is an equal place of stature and of respect and value within the cosmos. So nobody is bigger or taller or better than each other, but we're all human beings. And I think until we grab that truth in America, we will not achieve our greatness. We will not live out the great potential that our founders envisioned. And challenge that America faces in Africa. Does she live up to her creed? And that was what the civil rights challenge. And that's what those who are marching on the Me Too movement, those who are marching on the levels, they are the ones that are also calling America back to herself.
Because that was a point I wanted to examine. Because if you read down the declaration, after that opening paragraph, it goes on to now talk about all the inequalities or the unbearable conditions to which the British Crown had placed upon the colonies. But then, towards the end, before it starts talking about redress, this document says, in every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. And it is funny that these words, because if you lift these words and bring it to life, and look at the life of especially African Americans in the United States of America, slavery imposed on them. Eventually, a civil war was won, they were granted freedom, and soon after that, their freedoms were swept away from them. They have tried repeatedly with under terms of non-violent action to petition for redress against injustices against them. So we know about the marches in Selma, in Montgomery, and all over the South. We see pictures of police with hoses. We see dogs psyched on young children and women. All of that pass through, eventually you pass some kind of redress. Even to go to school was a problem. We remember the story of the young girl trying to break the siege in Alabama to get into school with hordes of jeering white people at a young girl. Then you fast forward to the issue with incarceration. You take a generation of people and you load them into prison. They petition for redress, they get no redress. When crack cocaine came into the African American community, in as much as it was also present in a lot of other communities, it was taken because it was predominantly a black thing. They were being managed very aggressively They were imprisoned. There were all sorts of draconian laws imposed against addicts who needed help. Then, of course, you compare it to what is happening today when heroin is a problem and it's felt to be predominantly a white issue. You talk about policing. Over the years, Black America has cried out against injustices by the police of being shut down for virtually no reason, and the perpetrators of heinous crimes against human dignity walking away free. They have not gotten redress. And you bring up the Black Lives Matter movement, it is met with derision and anger, as if they have no right to speak of their pain in America. And then finally, the athletes, to which all of us love to come out on Sunday and watch them perform for us and give us relief from our daily activities and get us away.
And make money for the club.
And make money. There you go. There you go.
And allow the Wall Street, the Main Street, Madison Avenue to sell their wares.
Absolutely.
To use them for endorsements,
yes,
and to help them push any issue that they want. So they are really patriots.
And the minute they decide to join their compatriots in saying we need to peacefully seek redress from these injustices, what is the response of the establishment? So the reason I bring this litany is because if we take it right back to the portion of the Declaration of Independence that I wrote, this is exactly the same situation that was happening in the colonies that prompted the Declaration of Independence against feudal Great Britain. So what has changed?
It is in our DNA to seek redress.
Yes.
America is born out of seeking redress, failed opportunity to address issues of conflict or issues of pain or infringement on people's rights.
Yes.
So it is not uncommon to see an American protest because that is part of who we are.
It is part of our DNA.
Yes.
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 So again it goes back to the question, why is it that when parts of United States of America, when citizens of the United States of America continue this practice, or this our usual practice of petitioning, seeking redress against injustices, why is it suddenly something that is out of ordinary, that needs to be treated as if these people are batting from left field? That is the question. So,
yes.
At the end of the day, we are talking on this for the first part of this program because this is important. And for everybody who is listening to this radio show, I think we all need to look inward and ask ourselves, as people of conscience, are we living true to the ideals of the United States of America? Do we take these truths to be self-evident, or do we pay lip service to these great words that were penned down by the authors of the Declaration of Independence? Yes, Mazio Deluga, go ahead.
In a way, you're saying we as Americans must see it as our citizenship duty to challenge America to be better.
Yes.
And to live up to her declaration, her creed.
Yes.
Just below that, you see where it says, it is for this reason that governments are organized to protect those rights.
Yes.
And that is important because unless you have governments who are accountable to protect those rights for the people, then those rights will always be trampled on, or the people will be deprived of those rights. Yeah. And so that's why it's important to vote and for people to know that, yes, it is okay to criticize America. We are not in a dictatorship.
Yes.
It is okay to criticize her, to call her back to order, to allow her to perfect herself, and to be able to re-examine her position. We're not being critical. We're not trying to say America is the worst country in the world. We're just saying we need to do better.
We need to work together to perfect our union.
We need to understand why we are organized and what our government ought to be pushing and what it should represent.
Yes.
So I guess it's time for a station.
Yes. So,
break.
Once again, you're listening to WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. And I would like to remind our viewers that this is a public radio station. We are supported primarily by donations from our listening public. If you enjoy Straight Talk Radio, you can help us keep it on air by donating as little as $1 today. We are a non-profit organization. Your donations are all tax exempt, and it is your donations that keep us running. So please, you can go to the WGHC website and click on the donate button and give whatever you can towards our cause. Now, I would like, we'll take a very quick station break, at the end of which we would like to interview somebody about a program that is coming on this weekend in the Chicagoland area.
WGHC 98.3 FM wants to bring to you CACON, Chicago's African Cup of Nations, the second annual community soccer tournament for charity with a number of African and Latino nations competing to help stop the combating crime and gun violence in Chicago. On July 14th, teams from Ghana, Nigeria, Congo, Uganda, Togo, the Latino community, Edgewater Football Club, and many more will be playing for the Cup. The tournament is held at the Wilson Turf Field on Wilson Avenue and Lakeshore Drive from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., where there will be food and great music for all to enjoy. Meet us there to watch this amazing tournament. This is WGHC 98.3 FM. We are your voice, your music, your station.
WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station.
I am Mazi KK Odeluga.
Mazi Ejikeme Obasi.
Na Mazi Oke Okachuku.
This is Straight Talk Radio, the world as we see.
Coming to you from WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station.
Listen to us this and every Saturday at 4 to 5 p.m. U.S. Central, and this and every Tuesday at 9 to 10 p.m. U.S. Central.
Okay, we're back on air again and saying hi to our listeners on Straight Talk Radio. We spent the first 30 minutes giving a shout out to American independence and wondering if we have lived up to the spirit or the aim of the founders of or the aim of the people that actually crafted the document of the Declaration of Independence. In this second part of the program, we would like to interview somebody who is here to talk to us about a program that is going to be held in the Chicagoland area this weekend. And I would like our listeners to welcome Chief Dr. Jovita Anyanwu, who is the local convention committee chair of an organization known as Imo State Congress of the Americas, or ISCA. So, Dr. Anyanwu Kelendi Madu. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Dr. Anyanwu from Chicago. I'm here with my friend and my boss.
Yes.
Dr. Ejike Obasi. And I'm very glad at what they do for our community.
Yes.
So that's why I'm here today to talk about the Imo State Convention, Imo State National Convention that will be held at Holiday Inn in Skokie. This occasion will run from 6 to 8. It is very, very good and important that we, as people from Imo State, should unite in the diaspora to influence what is going back home. We from Imo State form a very integral part of our community in USA, in Chicago, as well as back home where we support many of our family members. So we're going to have this convention. It's going to be very interesting, very good. We have 2 CDs that are coming out during the convention. We have dignitaries coming from all over the world, including our current deputy governor who is expected to address the occasion. We've been asking for everybody, irrespective of what you think about the organization, as long as you're from Imo State, the organization and the association belongs to you. There is no other person that has any other privilege more than you do. And by the way, leadership is always transitional. And as we can tell, Mugabe is no longer the president of Zimbabwe. Thank you very much.
Okay, Bazi, Dr. Anyanwu, welcome. So, let's start. For those of our listeners who may not be very conversant with Nigeria, Imo State is one of the states in the country Nigeria. It's in the southeast zone of Nigeria, and so tell me a little bit about ISCA, or Imo State Congress of Americas. Is it a political organization? What exactly is it?
Yes. If I will summarize it in our own local language,
yes,
this is an association maka Odimma ndi Imo State. It is a non-political association with political influence.
Okay. So basically,
yes.
Go ahead.
The goal of the association is to encourage development in our state, to encourage good governance in our state,
okay,
and also to unite us here so that we can speak with one voice. We could thereby influence certain things that are going on in Nigeria,
okay,
especially in Imo State.
Okay, so very good. So we are having this convention in Skokie this weekend, and I hear you saying everybody from Imo State is invited to come and participate. But what about non-Imo State indigents? Are they excluded, or do they have a role to play?
Thank you very much. As you can tell, if you are familiar with Nigeria, you will know that Imo State is a part of the states that make up the Igbo community. The Igbo community, in my opinion, is a single community.
Okay.
The Imo State is just a part of that Igbo community.
Yes.
So we are therefore, and have already, invited all the other states that make up the Igbo community.
Okay.
That includes Anambra, Enugu State, Abia State, and actually we have informed them, and then all the communities that make up Imo State too. Then all our friends, including Americans, including everybody, that has a vested interest in the welfare of Imo State people, or the development of our state back in Nigeria.
Okay. You talk about dignitaries coming from Nigeria, Imo State, to come, including the deputy governor. What exactly are they coming to do?
Well, first of all, we have other aspects of the convention, which includes economic and business forum, as well as political forum. What the association hopes to do is to actually have some kind of ideology that should be made clear to the political
class
heavyweights,
yes,
in Imo State, which most of them are aware of this convention, and many of them will be present. What we want in Imo State is good governance. We want leaders that care for the people.
Yes.
We want leaders that will provide services to the people. We don't want strong men.
Yes. Okay. I like what you just said, because if I will put it another way, I think what you're trying to say is Ndi Imo, especially in America, but Ndi Igbo in general, this is an opportunity for you to come to this convention and tell those people ruling you back in Imo State what you think about their government, their governance, and what you expect of them. Is that right?
That is very correct.
Thank you. Okay, so if you are Nwafu Igbo and for whatever reason you like what is happening in Imo State, all nature maybe whatever it is you want to do, come to the convention. You will have an opportunity to express yourself. But onye non tinso na matayora. Mazi Odeluga, what do you have anything to say?
No, I think it's a very commendable thing. By the way, we're so pleased to have you here. Because this is why Straight Talk we put together Straight Talk, to allow people like you, states, organizations doing things within the community to have the opportunity to have a voice and to talk about what you're doing. The diaspora has always been a very critical aspect of change in their homeland. So what the Imo State Congress is trying to do in North America is not new. And so we commend you all for the effort and all the monies and the resources that have been poured into organizing this forum. But I want to reiterate how we started this program today about the ideals that set America apart. Do you foresee a time that our people will truly hold governments as we see today accountable for the way they govern?
Well, that's a very good question. My answer to that is the only thing a man has is hope. Mm-hmm. We hope that in future, by influencing the community, we might be able to have that done. One of the ways to do this is actually to enlighten the people. Mm-hmm. And the people in diaspora should do more enlightenment. People have a choice to vote. That's one of their rights.
Yes.
They do not, in my opinion, they do not have any reason to vote somebody simply because he gave them something. You can still take what belongs to you and still vote your conscience. Mm-hmm. So for us here, we do have more opportunity to say something and be safe, because people back home
may not have the freedom.
May not be able to have the freedom to criticize or say things without paying a heavy, without suffering the heavy consequences of such action.
Actually, no, well, before you get there, okay, go ahead, Mazi.
Maka na Igbo si na ekwula ekwu mele ọnụ uche bụla akpa, which means within the Igbo worldview and ethics, every man has his own bag of wisdom, and he comes to the public square with that, and that is a right that he has, and he has a right to speak because he's a human being.
Which is exactly what is enshrined in the Declaration of Independence. So we as Igbo are practicing that before the Americans.
At what point did it become a crime for an Igbo man or woman to speak her voice?
Thank you. Well, looking at it historically, I'm very happy to tell you that if you look at the historical information about the Igbo man, what we call modern democracy has existed as a part of our Igbo culture.
For many centuries.
Yes.
Absolutely.
During the early days, they had what we call groups, age groups. They sat together, they made decisions on what is happening. What we had is this current government that was imposed on the people, which is an elitist movement. So we have not been able to manage it well. We have tried to turn it into a grab for all. Grab as much as you can.
Yes.
More power, more money. What we fail to realize is at the end, we will leave all these things. There is no amount of money that you have that will prevent you from dying. And when people are dying, if I remember the words of the great Apple founder, during his sick days, Steve Jobs, he regretted not doing more for humanity, not having more personal relationships, as he dedicated all his life to pursuit of success, technology, and wealth. So I tell our African leaders, why can't you look back and say, I have enough care and love for my people to do what is properly. Right. It's not like they don't know what is right.
What is the name of the millionaire that dedicated $1 million to any African president? What's his name? Ibrahim.
Yes.
And nobody has been able to claim that prize.
No, I think Elele Williams claimed it in
Sierra Leone.
Serif Williams.
Sirleaf Williams, Liberia.
In Liberia. And also, the president of Rwanda is being encouraged.
Kigami.
To step
Paul
down
Kagame, yeah.
and potentially
claim that prize.
End the prize.
Okay, because I was just making that as an aside, but I wanted to point out something. We, as a diaspora community, we are very good internet warriors.